Alright, so what we're going to talk about and review is a Rothko medium transport pack. You're going to see these things available from a lot of Asian sellers online. Everybody from Alibaba to Canis Latrons to your local surplus store, quite likely to have these things. Rothko is kind of a mainstay surplus store brand. A lot of their stuff is a mix between US and Asian made. It is my belief these packs are generally going to be Asian made. Quality is okay, is decent, it's good enough to use. Is it super duper end of the world quality? Maybe not, but it's decent. It's good usable gear. It's not pure junk. And I would say that it's a little better than what you'll get in a lot of mall stores. It's a little bit better than some of your PX branded stuff. I'll be honest with you. Compared to Spec Ops brand on size and quality, Spec Ops brand is a step up. It's also much more expensive. This is a Spec Ops THE pack with some stuff attached to it. Fortunately, with a color mix, you'll get an idea of what the original pack is. Here, they do expend out, and it's generally a frameless type design. On the Rothko medium pack, it's padded. There is no rigid frame. In theory, you could put like a frame plate or something in there. Some people have asked if you could put a trauma plate in there. It would have to be modified in order to do a trauma plate. We also have to look at the fact that the pack is relatively narrow. And when you see these modeled in catalogs, it's generally going to be modeled maybe next to some gear. You may not get a full idea of what the size of this is. When you see it modeled next to some other gear, it's a narrow pack. It is relatively full length, about like this THE pack. The length of your back is not going to extend past your waistline unless it's a really small person wearing it. And so even though they come with a waist strap, I kind of think it's a waste of time unless you're trying to equip, let's say, some 10-year-old, 12-year-olds, smaller teenagers, persons under 5'5". If you're a full-size adult, you're going to find this thing to be undersized, but it's pretty good for gear, and given out of the box, out of the package, very easy to modify, comes with a lot of the stuff you would want to modify it with that you're not going to have to pay extra for. And that's kind of the bonus with these things. For example, if you remove the waist strap and take a pair of scissors to the waist strap attachment point, you're not doing bad, except you will lose your backpack strap attachment point. So I removed the waist straps on the one that I'm using as a medical pack. I didn't scissor that off. I just undid the strap and pulled it off. Easy to do. For example, if you try to do that with the Spec Ops THE pack, those are all permanently sewn in place. There's no such thing as removing a strap on one of these things. There's a quick detach, which is kind of nice. There's a quick detach. It's a lot of extra strapping and buckling. A sternum strap, again, a little bit more child size. If an adult were to use a sternum strap, you're probably going to reattach a sternum strap down here somewhere, which is not very difficult. So it comes with a sternum strap. You could use it for something else. Color choice is extremely broad. I got the red, which is going to be used as a vehicle trauma bag. I wanted it to be color-coded, easy to identify in the dark, and rapidly accessible. So I didn't want it ever to get mistaken for tactical gear. I went red. I'm putting together another kit that's going to be like a survival water treatment, fuel moving kit. It's got some pumps and some hoses and some electrical stuff. That's eventually what's going to go in here. You'll see it in future videos with the blue bag. Basically, the blue bag is going to be for moving liquids, and we've got pumps, we got hoses, I got filters and all that that's going to go in the blue bag. If I can get one in bright green, that's going to be our fuel handling kit. Don't have that yet. But you do have a lot of color choices on these. I guess the label that had all the color options isn't here. But you can look these up from a few different sellers on Amazon and notice a lot of color choices with these things. As far as room in the bag goes, it is expandable. It does have a fair amount of room in it when you expand out all the pouches. You can still cinch this down to tighten things up. The big pouch, if you've got, you know, a kid or a teenager who needs a school book bag, one of the issues it's going to come up with, if they have a really big notebook binder, may not fit in this thing. A few school books, yeah, they'll fit, but a big notebook binder might not fit in that thing. You're going to have to test it and that kind of a thing, because you can fit laptops in this. It's just pushing it a little bit. And so you want to test fit for wider loads. If you want to attach other stuff to the sides and still not have it be really wide on your back, well, that's what these are kind of made for. If you need to wrap a big bundle of rope around it and kind of zip tie or bungee it to the pack, you can do that kind of a thing. If you've got a climbing pack, they're traditionally narrow because you're going to have a lot of rope or something wrapped around the pack. This works for that kind of a thing. If you are going to do, the shotgun scabbard on a side of a pack, and it's a breacher kit with a breaching gun or something like that, you could put together a breaching kit, one of these, in one of the camouflage or tactical colors with a shotgun attached to it. It's going to kind of work. You'll see a lot of secondary vendors with trauma kits that are based on this pack. One of the reasons I got the red one, and what I'm looking at is probably attaching a fire extinguisher to one side and maybe an oxygen bottle to the other side. I haven't decided on the oxygen bottle, and I might not do it. But I'm definitely going to be attaching at least a fire extinguisher to one side, and this is going to be a deluxe vehicle trauma kit. If you are going to be doing this thing with that type of a kit, it's another good reason to remove some of the straps. And the good news is you can put them back on. It's basically, little hook, loop and buckle system. These are not permanently sewn on the way you would see, let's say, with a strap on a THE pack. They're not permanently sewn on. So if you want to remove and reconfigure a strap, make it a side strap type arrangement, you can play around with buckle and strap positions. You got plenty of extra material to do that with, and kind of work with what's going to be comfortable. When I was modifying this one, I decided I was just going to remove the shoulder straps, remove the waist strap, try to work one of these shoulder straps on the top. I'm probably going to put a carabiner through here, hang it somewhere in the vehicle, and that's how it's going to roll. I may also consider just removing some of these cinch straps. Now this one, if we want to pull that cinch strap off, it's got to get cut. And so removing some of these cinch straps, we're not taking anything away. It doesn't cost us anything to modify it once we've bought the bag. The overall construction quality is okay, but not wonderful. Color choices all over the map. There's a lot of color choices. They even do the camouflage with black trim, the way SOE gear used to do it back when John Willis made all of his own gear before he went to prison. Now I understand he's pretty successful, but doesn't do the old designs. It does a lot of updated stuff. We have two relatively main compartments. We have one here. It's got some sub-compartments in it. We've got another one that's just about the same size right here that, from what I could tell, pretty lean on sub-compartments, but it still has some. And so we've got some sub-compartments. We've got a little bit of water-resistant type stuff. We have sub-compartments in the main, and there's padding in between the two. So if you're going to carry some instruments or something that's a little bit delicate, you can do this. There's padding in between the compartments. One is up here. You've got another compartment basically for a hydration bladder. That can kind of work. The rearmost compartment, of course, has some little sub-compartments. The sub-compartments, though, are not zipper shut, except for over here, and it's not full length. It's just a short one, and that's kind of like on your book bag, pen and paper type stuff. You can attach more stuff to the exterior of the pack. That's not going to be a problem. The issue is that once it gets full, realize it doesn't really go wide, it goes deep, and that can kind of torque your back in some directions you may not want to go when you're wearing it. The sternum strap is okay, but it's in a kind of a child position. If an adult's going to use this, you're going to want to move that down pretty far. Would I recommend this pack for, hardcore super troopers? Yeah, but only for specialized purposes. It's never going to replace a something like this THE pack.